Hello, welcome. So I'm doing things a bit differently this month. I have been super busy throughout the whole of May, and therefore I haven't had that wonderful opportunity to record individual star sign readings. So instead, I'm doing one reading for all, one that should be sort of a collective theme, something quite general that many of us are feeling and traveling through for June 2021. But over on my Facebook page, so we should say, and over on my Facebook page, I'm going to create some little readings for each individual star sign. But this video is aimed at all or many, maybe not all, but many for June 2021. Because I've just been so super busy. I just did not get that fantastic time to record 12 videos. So instead, I'm here for a general conversation. So I've had a little tune in, and I'll then pull some cards to layer and texture the message. But I will post something over on the Facebook, so please go and check there too for your individual sign. So hi, I'm Emma. If you've not seen me before, welcome. I'm really happy to be here with you, and I'm feeling good about June. When I sat down to tune in, I literally had no idea what was going to come up. Do you know, I haven't been sort of looking at June. I haven't been thinking about June. And so this was just as much a surprise for me to sit here with you as it is for you. So, and I'm quite pleased that actually the messages I was getting and the themes I was getting for June felt really good. And I think we all need that, right? We all need to know, oh, good, June's going to be amazing. Thanks for that. Because I know that I wanted June to be great. And I really felt like when I sat down, please let June be great. And I do feel like it's got some really good movement forward. And I think that is the theme for June, is sort of giant steps into new beginnings. And I do think they're very big steps. I think they're tangible. I think these are very real new beginnings, and actually perhaps big new life chapters, ones that haven't got anything to do with previous chapters. You know, when you hit that phase and it just feels like, oh my God, we're living something we've never lived before. And it sort of sets the scene for maybe a couple of years chapter. I feel like this year, 2021, is really doing that. And I think June is really bringing into play some new opportunities, unexpected opportunities, perhaps surprise opportunities to take those very real steps into the new life. Now, I don't feel like this is entirely surprising, because I believe that over recent months and recent, maybe even like the last year, that knowing inside that these beginnings are wanted, that they're yearned for, that the ideas for them have been culminating for months and months and months. I don't feel like wanting a new beginning is a surprise to anybody. But I do feel the timing of this is a surprise, and perhaps the way it arrives is a surprise. And it does feel like life is now beckoning us. So it's almost like a hand is reached out to us and says, now is the time to come this way. Come into your new life. And it's interesting because when I was linked into this, it felt as though it requires us to walk away from the life we've been living. And now I don't feel this is necessarily a bad thing, like a bad thing we're walking away from. It may not be we're walking away from something terrible. It could be for some of us, it could be that this is a tough situation that you've now got to move away from. But I feel like for a lot of people, it's not that the thing we're leaving is bad, but it's comfortable. And even though we're absolutely ready to be living something else, perhaps the nature of actually walking away from everything that makes us feel secure and comfortable and going into unknown new beginnings is a bit nerve-wracking. Do you know, like, it's to say, okay, maybe I'm ready to grow and move into new things and live new things. However, I have to leave the comfort of that which I've already created, and I have to leave it, and I have to walk out into this big wide world. And it feels like it is the time to leave it. I think for myself, what I find interesting is I'm not actually walking away from anything disastrous. You know, the things that I'm walking away from are actually things I kind of like. I kind of like the things I've created over here. That's why I created them. And so to walk away from them now as a choice is very different from escaping the drama that I've been in previously. It's a bit strange. It's a strange sensation to say, I like these things, and I'm having to let them go. And you may find that also you're having to let go of the routine. So many of us have established a certain routine, as maybe perhaps we've established one in the last year with all the lockdowns and everything, a routine of, you know, being with certain people, or spending a lot of time with a certain person, or spending a lot of time in solitude. And now we're having to sort of put less time into that in order to create more time for something else. It may be that we're having to reduce our workload, or reduce our social life, or reduce our solitude, or reduce something. And that might be strange. That might be a strange feeling to say, I have to kind of reduce certain areas of my life if I want this new stuff. And so it is a conscious choice to walk away from the routine, a conscious choice to walk away from what we've already put into place that maybe had been coming into place for years and years. And now we have to choose to let it go and decide, right, the yearning in me is big enough that I have to swap now for something else. I have to swap what I've created in order to experience a new way of living, because I know that's what I need. Now, I do think on an individual level, you know which areas of your life have become somewhat deflated. So you now know what it is you have been asking for. I feel like this is sort of months worth of stuff here. So you might be yearning for new work experiences, new relationship, more social life. But generally, I feel like this stuff is those things, those experiences that create a sense of aliveness in us. Now, it may be that through May, you actually had tasters of this. You had tastes of coming back to life in a way that you didn't maybe even realize had become a bit flat. It feels like there were things happened in May that brought you back to life. And you felt that sense of aliveness. And through those experiences, you were so engaged in living that you didn't even have time to think about what it is you want to be doing, what it is you're supposed to be becoming, where you're supposed to be going in life, how are you going to figure everything out. It was in these brilliant alive experiences that those existential questions sort of softened. And that's because you were in the throes and the flows of life itself. So these were your tasters. These were the things that, as they softened and quietened down, there was that little niggle that said, now it's quiet, will it begin again? Has it gone? Is there more of that? You know, because you knew the feeling it gave you inside of you, you want more of that. That's what you want more of. And so what's happening in June is really just the continuation of these little sparks that came to life in May. And the good news is, June should be delivering. So you know now, right? You know that this is what you want more of. You felt that call from within. And so, okay, maybe there's a quiet week or two, you know, maybe there's a quiet couple of days, maybe it's a week, maybe it's 2 weeks. As you move into June, maybe you're waiting for further experience and you're not entirely sure how that's going to arrive for you, right? But you know it's what you want. And you've just got time to simmer in that, because when it actually arrives, you need not deny it. You need not justify it. You need not explain to people and yourself why you're deserving of it, or why you want it, or why you're leaving things behind in favor of it, because you felt that feeling and you just know this is what you need more of. Maybe you've got no idea where it's going or what it's going to become, but you know you've got to go into that life experience to find out. And that's what June is bringing. Very surprise, unexpected experiences that beckon you into that which brings you alive. And now that's exciting. Like, I can feel that like pumping through my veins. That is really exciting. And what I love about this is it is going to feel like you're new and you're a novice. You may not have confidence going into this, and that's okay. If you think about where confidence comes from, we are confident in things that we have done many, many, many times. So if you're doing something for the first time, you're not going to feel naturally confident, and you cannot force that feeling. It is just beyond your capacity to do so. But the more you engage in it, the confidence will sort of begin to arrive, okay? And the relaxedness of it and your ease into it. But don't expect yourself to feel confident in June. Maybe that's a good message. Maybe, June is not about confidence. It's not about going into things confidently. And yet, maybe the choice to engage is confident. Okay, I'm going to engage in this, and I know I'm supposed to be doing that, and that's a confident choice. However, I'm not confident in the thing I'm doing yet. The choice is confident, but the experience of it is still a little bit wonky, because I've not been here before. I've not done this before. And whatever this is giving to me, I've not experienced before, but I know I need to be inside of it. So, it is exciting, but don't feel like you're supposed to have everything figured out. Don't feel like you're supposed to know everything before you go in. It is new, which is going to unsettle some feelings there. You've been in the comfort of something for some time. We can even be in the comfort of discomfort because it's familiar. We know what to expect. But going into something new does create uncertainty. It does create anxiety. It does create edginess. And that isn't a sign you're not supposed to be engaging in it, or you're not ready for it, or it's not for you. It's just that the confidence needs a bit of time to layer. And that's all. So, June is bringing the new experience. It is calling you to action. It is calling you to life. June is calling you back to life. That feels so big to me. June is a call back to life and a call back to living, and to join the living, and for the living to join together in glorious co-creation and love and fun and joy and delight. And I do believe these experiences will be arriving naturally. Okay, I don't feel like you're having to play hide and seek with this stuff. I feel like the call will come, and that might be a telephone call, an email. It might be you're talking to someone and you get an invitation. It feels like these things are arriving very naturally. They're happening very naturally. And the only requirement of you is to enter into it boldly and bravely. That feels good, doesn't it? So I'm going to pull some cards now. I've forgotten the name of this deck. It's a beautiful deck, and the name has like popped out of my brain. So I will pop that in the description box afterwards. It's a beautiful deck though, and it's this one. So if you've got it at home, you may recognize it. What's on our back there? We've got the Five of Cups there on there. See, for me, that's a seed that's already been planted, and all you got to do now is wait for it to spring up. And I think you're going to see that spring up in June. But I cannot remember what it's called. I'll pop it in the comments. So let's pull a couple of cards just to layer that conversation. And I'll also pull a little card for a relationship as well, if that's something that you're interested in. So let's have a look. That looks so awesome. So we've got the Chariot. We've got the Seven of Swords. And the Nine of Cups. I love that. Look at that. How gorgeous is that? It's just like... Now, this is your movement, you know, for June. This is our movement. This is the movement you've been waiting for. This is the confirmation of everything I just said. Movement is here. Be ready. You are already ready. You can't be more ready than your own readiness. You're ready. You're ready to move on. You're ready to move forward. You're ready to go ahead. And the Chariot is just really sort of, I guess, confirming that. Okay, but if we add that Seven of Swords in, again, I don't know that this is layering the conversation more than confirming the conversation. We've got the Seven of Swords there. And for me, looking at the Seven of Swords, you know, like, I think what we've got there is just a little bit of being on guard, a little bit self-protective, a little bit suspicious of the new thing because we don't have enough information yet. Do you know, like, we're going into these fantastic new opportunities, but they are new. We don't have all the information. We don't have all the answers. We don't have all the trust. We don't have all the confidence because we just don't have enough experience of this thing. We don't have enough information. We don't have the knowing yet, but we'll gain the knowing through the living of it. And so again, this suspicion, you know, this uncertainty, this nervousness, this feeling of feeling a little bit insecure in ourselves, that's really normal when you're going into something new. I think, you know, when you've had a lot of life experience, you've experienced, say, things like disappointment and things that haven't gone to plan, it's really normal to go in and not, you know, you're probably not as naive as you once were. You know that things can go awry. You know that you can be let down or things can come to a sudden end and things don't go to plan. So of course you're going to wonder, am I safe here? Am I safe here? Can I belong here? Can I really grow here? Is this something that's going to be good for me? Of course you're going to ask those questions, and that's normal. But no, it's through the living of it that you'll gain the confidence, you'll gain the knowledge, you'll gain the knowing. And this is no reason not to partake. Of course, if you've got really clear signs that something's not for you, if your gut is saying don't do this, you know, I'm not going to tell you to do anything that you feel grossly uncomfortable with or feels like a big red flag or a big red cross that says, no, don't go here. Please be discerning. You know, this isn't a agreement to go into things that are toxic and dysfunctional and bad for you. Okay. However, if you feel like this could be good for you, but it's just that nervousness, that suspicion from the not having all the information, then don't let that be a thing to hold you back. You should still, you know, just give it a bit more experience to find out how this can be good for you. And I feel like it should reveal itself pretty quick. If you're engaged in something that is not great and it's proving itself to not be great a lot, do you know, like day after day after day, there's no improvement in the way that you feel about it, then that's a pretty good sign that this isn't for you. But generally, when you go into something very new, it should be that you're getting a lot of good out of it. And that good stuff very quickly should reassure you that you're safe to experience this and find out more. Okay, so if you're not getting that quite quickly, pay attention to that. But you know, it should be that you are getting a lot of goodness from your experiences that show you that you do have the right to be here. Do you know, like, you do have this is a good thing for you. This is a good opportunity. So from that, we've got the Nine of Cups. I mean, just look at that. Do you know what I see in that? I just see that feeling of aliveness, that feeling of, oh my God, I am here, I am open, I am receiving, I am gaining, I am growing. I mean, you could fill each bowl with delight, enthusiasm, passion, growth, excitement, love, joy, delight, surprise. Like, fill those bowls with whatever golden feelings you want. Like, this is good stuff. The things we're going into in June are good, great, incredible. And all we've got to do is know that it's a choice to go into them. And it's a choice because we know how much we want this. We know what we've been feeling the last 6 months of those, as those feelings have rolled over and grown and evolved. We know what we're ready to move away from. We know the kinds of things we want to be experiencing and feeling now. And as those opportunities present themselves, how can we deny them? Yes, we might feel a bit wobbly and a bit unsure and a bit like, oh my God, what if I believe in this and it might not be the thing I think it is? But what if it is? What if it is exactly what you've been waiting for? I think there's a good chance that it is. So, June is very much this invitation back to life, coming back to life, rejoining the living and feeling alive. I think June will present, by the way, a lot of time here where we probably are not going to have as much time for processing, sitting around processing and, mentally analyzing, healing, it could be that through June, we are so learning from life through life. And that is the best thing for us, that actually there isn't any time to sit around and think about this because I'm too busy living life. And I believe that's what a lot of people are ready for. So with just a little touch on relationship, of course, everything I just talked about can definitely apply to relationship. Straight fun. I've got the Hermit. I was going to say strangely then, I've got the Hermit. But when we look at the Hermit, just take a look at that. So we've got this lovely little lady. She's sitting on a cliff top. She's taking it all in. I think when it comes to relationship in June, I believe that it will be a big theme to find out about your relationship. So obviously I'm looking at romance here. So whether you're in a relationship or whether you're got somebody new coming in, find out through the living of it, rather than the thinking about it and the figuring them out. Observe the way that they act, the way that they move, the way that these people treat you, the way that you feel when you're with them, rather than trying to gauge who they are long term and what they're going to be long term. And rather than going long term, if we just come really into the moment and find out about them through the living of them, but also watch them, observe them, get to know them through actually observing them, rather than trying to analyze when you're not with them and you're there and you're analyzing well, they said this and they did that and what did that mean and did they mean something weird by that? And rather than doing that weird overthinking we do when we're on our own, observe them as they move through life and observe that which is beautiful about them and glorious and great and interesting and funny and kind and sweet. I feel like the less inner talking you do about your other and the more watching you do of the other, the more beauty you're going to see. Of course, everything else I said can really apply. So you can say, if you are going through a new relationship this month, know that, this is the living of it. It's the living of it. Okay, it's okay to feel a bit wobbly and a bit unsure, because trust comes with time. You can't flick it on and off like a light switch. It layers with time, and you're not going to feel those really deep levels of secure with this person. You might feel insecure, you might feel weird, but the more knowledge you get, the more experience, the more information, the more interaction, that will change and that will evolve. Your feelings about them will change. The feelings about yourself inside these situations will evolve. But give it the chance to actually have some living experience to find out. Give it the chance to actually live it to discover it. And allow yourself to observe them in living action. Observe their aliveness and see how you feel about that. But June is looking great, so I'm not feeling massive disappointments in June. I'm feeling quite good about June. I'm feeling like June is very revealing, but also just full of aliveness, and that feels great. So that's my June reading, people. I will come back next month, and I may get time to do the full 12 readings, but if not, I'll do another one of these. Don't forget to head over to my Facebook, where I'll be posting individual readings on the page for each star sign, as well as you can join me on Patreon. I'd love to have you on Patreon. Please come join me on Patreon for daily I'm putting daily messages on there and some other stuff, so you're welcome to come and join me on Patreon. I'll pop a link in the description. But we'll come back again and we'll talk about July. Have a fantastic June. Can't wait to see you all come to life in such brilliant new ways with all the things you want in life. It fills my heart, and I'll look forward to talking to you soon. See you later.